Hi, Amy.
Happy.
Last night we watched Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 7. And we also have bonus content today, which covers The Other Way. Bongus?
Bongus.
The Other Way, Season 6, Episode 15. Just a quick reminder to our audience, if you prefer to watch our podcast, then head over to our YouTube and look for us there. Well, it's not our YouTube. It is the YouTube, but we have a little channel there. And look for at 90 Day Fiancé Honestly. Are you ready, Amy, to discuss?
I'm ready.
Okay, on with this Canadian Thanksgiving treat. Let's talk about Tigerlily and Adnan.
There really wasn't much to say on this episode, which I was totally fine with.
Huh. Well, they're in a beautiful location in Petra. Fantastic place. Would love to go there someday. And Adnan says he declares that he is the best husband. What has he done to deserve this, aside from being his wife to Petra? I don't know.
His wife to Petra? Yes.
Yes. That's it. Because Tigerlily is still smoking mad about the whole double standard event from last week. She's out of the car, walking away. Adnan doesn't even go after her. It's the brother who goes after her. I was a bit surprised at that.
Why would that be necessary?
Maybe because it's his wife.
And he's the best husband.
He's the best. So he does eventually join up with Tigerlily and he apologizes. She accepts. Very nice. But interesting apology, interesting acceptance, because she still has to follow Adnan's rules. Now that she has accepted his apology, that means, according to him, that she is happy. She's going to change her mood immediately and forget everything that just occurred.
Change her mood and change her face.
Yeah. That's the quality of apology that is, I don't know. What? Okay. So she confesses she's not going to let things go easily. She's not that kind of person, which I think bodes extremely well for the couple's future.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem like she does let it go because they have this camel ride and she's smiling. She is a happy time. I don't know.
End scene.
It goes by so quickly because the next thing we know, they're leaving. Okay, bye-bye. It's all done. I guess nothing interesting happened on that trip aside from them riding a camel.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Then in the car ride home, the only drama that we have is provided by Shay. She's talking about a million different reasons why there will be problems in the couple's future. And neither one of either Tigerlily or Adnan are really happy about hearing this kind of talk. And frankly, I'm not on board for it either. I don't think it's any of Shay's business to bring up all of these personal issues that the couple can clearly deal with themselves. They are adults, although Adnan just barely.
Yeah, it was. No? I don't think it was any of her business to bring it up. What is the point? You're just going to make this drive very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan?
I don't know.
Venting? What's the point?
I don't know. It seemed pointless. And then the final issue that I made a note of is that Tigerlily is quite sad about the prospect that she's about to be separated from her husband, of course. But Tigerlily, you're loaded. You can buy yourself a first-class ticket whenever you want and go back to Jordan during the process of bringing Adnan to the U.S., even if it takes 2 years. I mean, she brought her glam duo with her. She can do that again if she wants to. Sorry, but I don't feel sorry for her.
I don't either.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care. Yeah. I've stopped caring.
Not much there. But on the other hand, there is a lot to talk about when it comes to Renee and Chitty. Yeah.
So difficult to watch.
We open on this scene where Renee is packing. And the reason why she's packing is because she is done. She's come to her limit when it comes to Victoria's fictitious constant judgment. That's what she calls it, constant judgment. Have we seen Victoria be judgmental at all?
I haven't seen it, but no. Maybe we're watching different shows than the Renee show.
Yeah, Renee's definitely seeing stuff that we are not, which doesn't really come as a surprise. And Chitty doesn't know what's happening, which I think was a pretty clear indicator that this is all in Renee's head. The family is totally surprised by the fact that she's packing her bag and she's going to leave, which should tell you right away, something's up. Because when one person is acting really extreme and everybody else around them is surprised, guess what? It's not their problem. It's the person who's packing their bag's problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the confrontation was very awkward. I can understand why Victoria was so angry about the whole thing. Renee was she was so rude. Just let her go. Let her go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought it was really gross that even while Renee is arguing with everybody and being so incredibly aggressive, she's still pressuring Chitty to come with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she insults him when, again, he hesitates. He's not sure if he wants to. He's got some issues with it, which we all already understand. Like, she has absolutely no respect for his faith or the vow of celibacy that he's made or until he gets married.
In general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she even threatens him with saying that he's going to lose her forever if he doesn't come with her to the hotel. She's pulling out all the stops, everything she can do to strong arm this guy into going with her. She's gonna try. And it seems like she's putting everything on his reluctance to have sex with her. Like, everything depends on that. And so she's so angry at everybody. She's so angry at Chitty because he will not give her this thing that she wants from him, which is to have sex with her. It's really gross.
As I said,
then she makes comments like, "Oh, Victoria's so controlling. She's trying to control Chitty." But hello, Pot.
Mm-hmm.
It's me, Kettle. Renee, you are the one who's trying to exert control over Chitty. He has a right to his opinion and what he wants to do with his body and where he wants to go. And wow.
This man has autonomy, but yet she's trying to control him, but it's everyone else's fault.
Oh, yeah. Totally. The one comment that Chitty made that I thought was right on the money was when he said that the real problem is deeply rooted in Renee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's nobody else. And Victoria is absolutely on the money when she says that Renee is delusional. Yes, she is. She needs help. And I thought for a moment, what about those two kids that Renee has back at home? I feel awful for them because they are being shaped by this delusional, aggressive, and very controlling behavior. And how's life going to turn out for them?
She's also been very belittling to poor Chitty.
Yeah, I don't think in this moment that she can get any uglier with what she's presenting to the family and how she's treating them all. And really, she's just brought this upon herself. She blames Victoria, she blames Chitty, but in the end, it's Renee who's completely blind. She's the one who's blind to her actions, her toxicity, her delusions, all of the bad actions that she's made towards this family, and that self-fulfilling prophecy about her having problems with a sister in the future. Wow, she just cannot see how any of that is totally of her own making.
Well, there's no introspection at all. It's everyone else's fault. It's never her fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's all part of that delusion that she has, that she is way above everybody else in terms of understanding the universe and how things work, and that she's in contact with these higher beings. And, you know, he doesn't know how his beliefs are very little, and all of that delusion of grandeur that she has is making her totally oblivious to what's really going on. So in the end, she doesn't get the result she wants. Chitty does not agree to leave with her to go to the hotel. And so she breaks up with him. She puts all of the blame on everybody else in the room, except for her.
And again, just let her go.
Yeah.
Let her go.
One of the kind of heartbreaking things that I found about this whole scene was that in the background at the end, you could hear the baby crying hysterically. So Renee has so thoroughly upset everyone in this household and shown them so much disrespect, zero kindness, no compassion whatsoever. And she's used them all so badly. And that energy that she's created has infected everyone, including this little baby who is now yelling his head off in the background because he's so upset. Like, come on. You don't have to upset the little kid.
Mm-mm. No. But that amount of toxicity coming from one person would definitely infect the entire house. So again, she can leave.
Oh, yeah, she can leave. But she's returning to a house where she has 2 little kids who are going to bear the brunt of whatever nastiness she brings back with her.
Well, I hope she's able to blow off that steam before she gets home to her kids and not take that back with her.
Yeah, I hope so too. But I fear the opposite. Yeah.
I don't know.
Do we have anything else to say before we move to Niles and Matilda?
One thing.
Yes.
Thought it was hysterical when she said that she implied that she would be an intruder in his pants.
Oh.
And I wanted to clap my hands and say, yes, because you were not welcome. You were not welcome.
No, totally not. That was a great line. When she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like something that we would have said in grade 6 or 7. You know, it's such an immature comment to make and puts in such a ridiculous way. Yeah, intruder in your pants is going to live on, I think, in infamy and 90-day history, just like yike has stuck with us since we first heard it.
Yes, I agree.
Let's talk about Niles and Matilda. So first off, Niles did have some issues with those giant snails. Tummy troubles.
Or they had some issues with him.
Either way, I'm sure it was not fun.
No, but I love that she was like, that was your first time eating fufu, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Fufu, right?
Fufu. Yeah.
That's what the dish is called, fufu?
Yep. F-O-U, okay. F-O-U, I believe.
Okay, good name. So things didn't go exactly as Matilda had wanted insofar as any bedroom activities during the night. Niles put on the brakes when we saw Matilda jump on him the previous evening. She's not especially happy about the way things are now, but she did make a promise to wait. So she would have been breaking that promise had they gone through with it. And is it not a good thing that Niles put on the brakes and said no?
I think this is just him putting off the inevitable.
Yeah.
And buying a skirt, and that's not going to smooth things over enough for her not to have a reaction to you telling her that you're going to have to postpone a 200-person wedding that's happening in a couple days.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we learned a little bit more about Niles's past, which I think is important to mention because it turns out that he has had a previous relationship. And this one was a fairly demanding one for him because this couple, the old Niles and girlfriend, did have sex. And then she was wanting it many times every day. And he found that quite difficult to deal with, so they broke up. And I suppose he probably felt used in a way. He doesn't want to repeat the same experience with Matilda. Having her jump on him last night kind of made things a little bit awkward for him or triggered him in some way because of his past experience.
Brought back those memories of him feeling so used and seeing the potential of a relationship just fall into the demise of sexual desire.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to feel like they're just being used for sex. So good for him. Again, he's standing up for himself. I admire that so much, that he's forthright. And the couple agrees together, this time Niles and Matilda, that they're going to wait until marriage for sure this time.
But I cringed because he wants to put off the wedding. So here she's probably thinking it's going to be within like the next week or so, but we don't know how long he wants to put the wedding off for. And I think that's going to impact her attitude towards waiting as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. It would make a big difference because then they'd be waiting until his next trip to Ghana, probably, which I'm sure would take him some months to figure out how to do and to get the money arranged for and all that stuff. So, yeah, good point. They decide that they're going to go for this little walk on the beach, which is lovely, but Matilda starts talking about how the 200 people are all lined up and ready to go. They're going to come to their wedding. He has still not told her. He has not broken the news yet, but this is his moment. I was like, okay, Niles, they're talking about all the details of your wedding. They're talking about how things work in Ghana. Come on, you can do it. Now's their chance. Break it up. Come on, break it up. No. Nothing.
No.
He's not able to do it. And then is the shopping trip. I mean, I admire, again, what he's doing so much. He's putting up with all of this sensory overload, which must be very difficult for him, for Matilda's sake, because he knows that she wants to go to the big city to go shopping. And then there's the component of, okay, he's going to buy her a dress. And this is the dress that she wants to wear for her knock door ceremony. Again, he's paying for everything. That's a good point to make. This is another opportunity for him to talk to her about not wanting to get married on this trip. And instead, his plan is, oh, I'm going to buy these things for her. I'm going to buy a dress. I'm going to get her nails done. And all of these things are supposed to soften the blow for when he does tell her that there's going to be a wedding on this trip.
I think his assessment of the weight of this news or this request, he hasn't assessed it properly. He's greatly underestimated it.
And you would think that buying a dress for your fiance that she will wear during the knock door ceremony would send the signal of, well, yeah, let's prepare because this is definitely happening. When in fact he's trying to mean the opposite. It's so tragic. And then even the nails thing, like, don't brides like to have their nails done and be really pretty for the wedding? So again, he's feeding into her version of events and what she believes to be is about to happen, when in fact he wants to try to tell her the opposite. Oh,
really missing the mark on this one.
Totally. And even when he goes shopping for jewelry on his own to get her wedding, sorry, not her wedding band, her engagement ring, I'm just like, Niles, you poor sweet child, Niles. This is not the right message. You are confirming every little belief that she has that you're going to get married on this trip. And he tells us the intention for the ring is that it's going to signify he promises to come back to Ghana to marry her at some later time. You really should have talked to her about that before.
Yeah. 200 people. How much of this is, actually been paid for, or is it just, everyone on standby?
I get the feeling it's everyone on standby because the paying part is the knock door ceremony, the bride price, the list of items that he has to furnish to the family. So but I can just imagine that a lot of people who are coming to this wedding are putting the pieces in order to be at the wedding. So they're maybe traveling or getting time off work or changing their schedule around so that they can attend the wedding. They would probably want to know very, very, very soon.
I think everyone would want to know so much sooner than what he's going to be prepared to do it. Like, he should have done it before he even left, if not, when they landed or when he landed.
Yeah.
Or at any point during those very specific conversations. The segue would have been pretty easy on that one.
I just feel sorry for him that he's so afraid to speak to her. And I know that she has shown us in the past, or shown him in the past at least, that if she doesn't have her way, there may be some fallout from that. But still, he's got to think about the other people involved in this, not just Matilda, but the 200 others. Because he is so logical about most other things. The way that he's able to sort through a difficult problem and see his way to the end to solving it is really good. So why can't he apply that same idea to this situation?
Like, because our emotions are involved and he's not as familiar with maneuvering through them.
Yeah.
And his experience with could have a hairline trigger, especially with regards to this topic. I can see him avoiding the conflict.
Yeah. Well, we'll see next week, because that's about all we get from them from this episode.
Yep. Now we wait.
And then while we're waiting, let's talk about this new couple. Vanja, 41, from Florida. And, okay, I know I'm going to mess up his name. Božo, 38, from Croatia.
Božo.
Božo? I was trying to listen so carefully to how they pronounced it, and it seemed like there were variations in the pronunciation. Sometimes it sounds like it has an O at the end. Sometimes it sounds more like an A. Anyway, let's just move on.
Yes. Sorry, I'm not right.
Vanja herself seems like she is a bombshell belly dancer and fire breather. But it turns out that that's just a hobby. Oh yeah, just a hobby. Some hobby. Wow, she has 4 jobs. And she does seem like a lot.
Very ambitious, very tenacious.
She was previously engaged, but her fiancé sadly cheated on her. And this has clearly caused some trust issues. And I dare say they're probably serious trust issues from the way that she is quite emotional. We see her tear up a number of times. I think 4 is what I counted. Sort of on Natalia's scale of emotional volatility. Almost.
But more tolerable, because she's not a whiny little 16-year-old.
Vanja is originally from Bosnia. About a year ago, she went on a trip to the Balkans where she met Božo. The guy. He is a basketball player. But they didn't actually meet in person, which is so interesting. They only met online while she was there.
Whirlwind romance.
Yeah. And now, after about 8 months has passed, she's going back to Croatia to meet him in real life at last. And I got a really good feeling off of these two. I got a good vibe. I thought, dare I predict they are a real couple? Not clout chasers? People with real emotions, with real stories? Maybe?
I'm also cautiously optimistic.
They're about the same age. They have the same background. It seems like they've got an emotional bond, a cultural bond. They have lots in common. Both attractive people. Maybe we've got
similar
a good
experiences with the war. I don't want to say trauma bonding because they didn't experience it together.
No.
But that's not something that you're going to find every day. As someone who has been through something as tragic and traumatic as war. Yeah,
that was a big, big thing in her past. The other thing in her past that is an issue is that, and this we only find out from her friend, is that when they were together, well, I guess they've had this online relationship, so not physically together, but online together, Božo started seeing somebody else who was in Croatia, and he broke up with Vanja for a couple of months to see this other woman. And then I guess the relationship dissolved, or he ended up, whatever. He came back to Vanja and said, I want to give this another try. So do you buy it, like she does, that that's a positive?
No, I would say that shows that she's disposable to him. He found something better. He put her on the back burner. And then he's like, okay, you can come back until the next one comes around.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about too. That she'll go there, they'll form an even tighter bond. And then the minute she goes back to the US, he's going to get lonely and he's going to have somebody flirt with him or however it happens. And then he's going to cheat on her again.
Yeah.
And she does seem rather fragile.
Well, and then when she's waiting at the airport, well, not waiting, I guess, waiting to depart, he's not picking up his phone.
Yeah, that's very weird. Not just that he's not answering the phone when she's about to leave. And this is a time of day in Bosnia or Croatia, sorry, where he should be awake and out and about. So it's not like she's calling him in the middle of the night. Not just that he's not picking up from this call, but that he hasn't been picking up from or responding to any of her calls or texts on this day.
Mm-hmm.
Because she does make mention of that. And I thought, okay, well, the one phone call, I can kind of understand that. Maybe he's busy doing something else right now. But if you've been trying to communicate with him for the whole day and he's not responding, knowing that it's the day that she's flying to Croatia, that's kind of rough.
And then when you add that onto him previously canceling her other trip because he was busy seeing someone else.
Did she had a trip planned? I missed that.
I think she was planning on going to see him, but then he canceled it. I could be wrong, but that's how I remember it.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear any of that. I thought it was just that this trip was the only one she's made so far, but I could be wrong as well. So she has this previous fear based on his past behavior of not responding to her, that signals to her that he is busy with somebody else. So it's triggered her definitely. And I feel really badly for her that she's about to hop on the plane where she can't communicate with him for hours at a stretch. And she doesn't know for sure, is he going to be there when I arrive?
Such a sad situation.
Yeah, it's not a great start, but
No.
I'm hoping that things turn around for these two because I got a good feeling, like I said, from her. And I really hope that he is genuine and comes through.
I'm excited that we have a new couple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that this won't be a dumpster fire. I hope that there's, at least one couple, if not possibly two, to actually, vie for. Cautiously optimistic.
Yes. Cautiously optimistic is the word. Yes. The next couple, Brian and Ingrid, you and I talked about last week how we were theorizing who might be leaving the show given that they're bringing on another couple and it seems like things are not going well for a number of the couples. Well, we agreed that it was either going to be Loren and Faith or
Brian and Ingrid.
Right. And Brian and Ingrid look like they're heading that way. Yay. I'm so happy.
I was really confused during the whole, her being nice to him and touching him and, implying that, they could be heading for sexy times tonight. I'm like, Ingrid, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And then we see the cutaway where she was like, it was just, no, she got the egg. Thank God.
Well, yeah, it was more than the egg. They start off meeting Ingrid's friends, and this is where it all starts because it really has felt like Ingrid has been reluctant to move their relationship into the physical territory until this point. When she meets her friends with Brian, and he comes up with this weird statement about proudly announcing that ever since his accident, he's only been with Brazilian women. And they always sleep with him on the first night that he's in Brazil. Wow. Why is he bragging about this? What effect does he think this is going to have on the friends? Although it does seem to kind of work because it's not like he was trying to get brownie points with Ingrid for saying something like this. It's like he's trying to prove that he's tolerant, that he's a modern man who can be both virile and demanding, like the manly man, but is also capable of choosing not to be that way out of deference to her in particular, because she until now has said no sex. it's just this really strange atmosphere. I did not comprehend where he was going with any of it.
His thought process was very difficult to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you planning on winning anyone with these statements? Like, is the bar that low? Like, you didn't force her to have sex with you on the first night? Like, what are you even trying to say? It was just so confusing, and in front of her friends.
Yeah. But the friends, they somehow are eating this all up, and they're encouraging Ingrid to go for it. They are surprised that she hasn't slept with him yet, and they say, yep, you should. It's all good. Go forth and have fun.
Probably because she hasn't told them everything else that's happened.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I mean, she can't really do that in front of him, or she could. That would be rather funny. But she can't, in that situation, express all of the reservations that she's had and the way that he treated her on her first night and all of the things that he's revealed to her about his past. All of that would have taken a good deal of time and would probably have given us a different outcome.
I would have appreciated that outcome as opposed to people blindly supporting this man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tricky. So Ingrid and Brian go back to his hotel together, and he brings out another gift for Ingrid. Wow, he really knows how to push her buttons, because this is definitely her language. And the gift this time is a little bit of red string. Cute.
So thoughtful.
Here's this tiny little piece of string. Go put it on, please. And then this made me so uncomfortable. He starts to give her massage. I just wanted the cameras to leave right then and there. I didn't want to see him massaging her belly. Who massages the belly? What?
Only
There's
if you're gassy and or constipated, which I don't think she was.
Yeah, only babies get their bellies massaged. I would never do that to another grown human. Weird.
So
Okay,
strange.
whatever. So the cameras are still there. Awkward scene ensues. Then we get one of these blank screens where a card comes up and says, 1 hour later, they got into an argument, and we're seeing the aftermath. We're invited to view each of them talking about what just happened. And from his perspective, he says they were about to have sex. He did not have a condom with him. Why? Why? You bring the blue pill, but you don't bring the condoms? Okay, gross.
Because he had absolutely no intention of using it.
That's why I said gross.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then she says, okay, you don't have one, so this is not happening. He offers her an alternative. She decides that that's not something she wishes to receive, and he did not take that very well. No. So she ends up leaving with the production crew.
Good for her.
Yeah, really good for her. But wow, are we back in the dark ages again? I mean, this man is 51 years old, I think, 50-ish. And he doesn't know that when a woman says, no, thank you, that's all you need to hear. You back off, and that's that. Not, oh, I'm going to get into an argument with her now because she has chosen not to allow me to touch her body in this particular way, which she does not want. It's her right. It's her body.
But it's what he wants.
I know. Wow. I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy she said no. I'm really encouraged by the fact that she's learning more and more about him, and yet always holding back a little bit, always being a tiny bit skeptical, so that there's room for her to test what he's really capable of doing. And in this moment, he was tested again, and he failed so badly. And now she knows. Now she knows he's not good for
I
her.
hope this is the last piece that she needed, because I think that it's been like a compounding situation for her with his visit, with just him just being disgusting and pushing her boundaries and testing her, as you said. I'm really hoping that this was enough for her to say, I tried, and he's done nothing but disappoint me, and now he can leave. He can leave too.
Yeah, he can go. Yeah. This has been such a roller coaster ride with this couple. Just for him, really, I guess, to learn how so much of his story is twisted and changed in order to try to garner the most sympathy for himself. How he's had these relationships, marriages, which have overlapped with other relationships. How he was a drug dealer and a drug user. It's messy beyond belief. Did the producers do this to us on purpose? Give us somebody that they already knew had such a shady past and was manipulative and cheating, lying, doing all of the bad stuff? Or did they not know that until we did? I mean, can they really be that dense?
We still don't know what the vetting process is for any of these couples.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult to really say.
Yeah. Be gone.
Yes, I agree.
Let's talk about Loren and Faith next. Another one that I would like to have vanish off the face of the 90-day fiance planet.
I mean, Faith can stay.
Absolutely. Faith can stay.
Loren
She's fantastic.
Yes, peace out.
Mr. Gonorrhea can go. Yeah. So we start this off with a really great scene of Faith arriving at Loren's door and being, wow, she's in her presence. She knows what she wants. She's ready to talk about. She's ready to express her feelings to him. You can tell she means business.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And yet she is so sweet towards him still. She's still talking about how she wants to hear his side of the story. But when Loren speaks to tell his side of the story, it's just worse and worse and worse. The way that it gets worse is that Loren reveals that actually he's been having sex with other people about once a week. Yeah. Not just
over the last 6 months.
Not just one person. One person per week for the last 6 months. Unbelievable. And the way that he frames it with what I thought you understood, so I guess you really didn't understand. It's not her problem, Loren. She did not do anything wrong.
Failure to communicate is your fault, not
Failure
hers.
to keep it in your pants is also your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Failure to obviously not use protection is also your fault.
Yeah, well, those circumstances were a little bit different. It wasn't
a little different, yes. However, I just wanted to, throw in the whole safe sex thing again.
Loren promises to cheat. Never, ever again. Do we believe that he will not cheat again?
No. Does she?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think she buys it. I think that at this point, it's become too embarrassing for her to cancel what's going to happen next, which is this trip to visit her family. So she's making a small concession to him in that she says she's going to forgive him. However, she says, I'm only going to introduce you to my family as a friend now, not a boyfriend. It's really big of Faith to say that she's going to give Loren a second chance. I do not think he deserves one, but oh my gosh, I hope that he doesn't make things totally embarrassing for her when they go to her family's house, because that is entirely possible. And I hope that she doesn't find out anything else bad about his past, but she probably will.
Especially in front of her family.
Yeah. Yeah. Yike is what I have to say about that.
Yes. Next week should be interesting.
Next up, Sunny and Vaya. No, they're not next. We did not see them this week. No. I was really looking forward to it. I want to find out what happens when she says, oh, by the way, I brought my ex-boyfriend, who you hate.
Oh, it's going to happen next week. It's gonna be a
That's
good one.
next week. Next week, I know, but I'm just anticipating. And speaking of next week, we do get a preview of the show for next week, and we see that Božo is confessing to his mother confessing that his mother doesn't know about Vanja. Not a good sign. Faith and Loren are going to fly to her parents' village, as we mentioned, and he has the audacity to dangle the promise of a house for her parents to Faith, as if he could afford that. As if. Rotten. Totally rotten. Tigerlily and Adnan have a very tearful goodbye. Brian complains to another one of his friends about what's been going on, and he gets a schooling in how to behave towards all women.
Just one.
Niles is going to build up to make a very important announcement to Matilda. And in the same vein, Vanja is going to build up to tell something very upsetting to Sunny. So much anticipation. Our bonus, it is. Our bonus content this week is The Other Way, Season 6, Episode 15. Starting off with Sean and Joanne. Oh, this couple is dealing with the aftermath of the marriage reveal. Joey is not taking it very well anymore. No kidding. It's a huge shock. It's going to turn his life completely upside down. He has every right to feel discombobulated, upset, angry, whatever it is he's feeling. When Joanne says to him, "I live for you guys," I wanted to do something bad. I don't think she does.
No, she definitely does not, and has not put them first over, I'm going to say, for more than 2 years, because they had to have that conscientious thought, oh, let's go get married. And then to also just be like, we'll figure out the kids later. Why would you need to have that discussion?
Yeah.
And then just sit on it for 2 years because, you're blinded by love. Yeah, okay, but what about these beautiful kids that you have? No, can't even take them into consideration?
Nope.
No. So I think they're both just reaping what they sowed.
Yeah, they are. But the "I live for you guys" statement was so hard to swallow.
So poor.
She definitely lives for herself, insofar as these actions have shown us. And when Joey starts talking about, well, what if you're living in Ireland and there's something that goes wrong at home, at school, with me or my brother, what are you going to do? And she says, oh, I'll just hop on the next plane if there's an issue. It's so simplistic.
And so short-sighted.
Yeah, but I mean, if life isn't like that, it's not so easy. That process would take at least about a day. And the bottom line is Joey doesn't want his mom to be living in another country. And she should be able to tell that from the way that he's speaking to her and the things that he's saying, his overall reaction to this news. She should know that. About her own son, she should really know that.
But I think this just highlights how very short-sighted they've been. Like, this kid has the forethought to think about, what if this, what if that? And she hasn't thought about any of this.
No. Well, she said before to us that she would not move to Ireland if it wasn't what the kids wanted. And now it definitely seems like the kids don't want her to move to Ireland. So is that off the table? No. Doesn't seem like it at all.
She's still going to go.
Yeah.
But what irked me the most was after this conversation with her kid, she talks to her friend, Noelle. And she's like, I need you to support me because, the kids aren't taking it well. It's like, support me because I've made this gigantic mistake. Me. It's all about me. I don't care that, I didn't tell you and you have your own emotions about it. It's support me because my kids are upset with me and my decisions.
Yep.
Supporting what you just said about her being so selfish.
Again, she's not living for you guys. She's living for herself. Yeah, it's all very selfish actions. Yeah, all I kept thinking about was the kids. How are they not supposed to feel like they've been abandoned and considered last, given everything that's happened? The words that come out of Joanne's mouth do not match up with her actions. any which way you look at it. I love the fact that Joey calls her out for her behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is she going to do the right thing now? Given how she's royally messed up everything by getting secretly married, is she going to change what she does from this point forward? And I think the right thing to do in this case, keeping in mind Joey's reaction, is you stay in New York. You don't change a bloody thing about your life until the kids are old enough to be on their own. That's my opinion. But given the circumstances we have with the negative reaction that Joey has made and the fact that they've got this split household joint custody arrangement back in the US, it's not the right thing to do to leave now. You got to hang around and just lump it. You are the adult after all. You are the parent. You lump it until such time as those kids are fully able to look after themselves, like around 18 when they go off to college or take a job, whatever. And then you say, okay, I brought you up. I've given you your wings. Now you go fly and I'm going to go live my best life. And that happens to be in Ireland.
I don't know if there needs to be a specific timeline on it, i.e., when the kids are old enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be when the kids just accept that she's going to go. I think she's just going to wait until it blows over a little bit, and then she's going to peace out, and then she's going to try to deal with the aftermath after she's already gone. I don't think she's going to wait until the kids are old enough to be self-sufficient.
Oh, I don't think for 1 minute that she's going to wait until they're old enough. I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But I have no faith at all in her putting the kids before herself in this instance and saying to Sean, hey, bad news. I really can't do this until they're on their own. So we're going to have to do the long distance thing for the next, how old is Joey?
14?
He's, I want to say 16. I think it's 16 and 12.
Mm.
So probably 6 years until the youngest is out of school. Because this is the mess that they made for themselves. You've got to clean up after it.
And it's already been 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't give the kids any opportunity to, get to know Sean, get Sean to know the kids, for them to, just live with the idea that this could be a thing. No. Instead, you took that decision from them. You took that opportunity from them.
Yeah.
And now you deserve to deal with this fallout.
Totally. The one voice of reason in this segment I found to be Sean, because the things that he was saying seem to indicate that he's being realistic. He recognizes that things may not work out the way that they'd planned at all, and they will have to come up with a different plan. I think he's prepared to make those sacrifices. I just don't feel like Joanne is quite there yet.
No, he seems to actually realize what this has done and is able to identify what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he acknowledges, we were blinded by love and it was a mistake. And yet she's just me.
That's all I have to talk about with the Joanne and the Sean.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to Josh and Lily, who go to the night market.
And
now you get your food.
It wasn't. It was difficult to enjoy the food because it was so awkward. Because Jared has obviously already ruined the entire evening.
Jared?
Yes, the brother.
I thought it was Lily who was the one to blame for everything.
Oh, no, right. Lily has ruined Jared's evening.
Yes.
But it seemed as though Jared was just so extremely intelligent, was able to get on both of their pages and was able to help facilitate the communication. Was it even a facilitation of communication, or was it just almost like a mediation? Because they're not learning how to communicate together, Josh and Lily. Jared's almost interpreting for them.
Yeah. I wrote down that he was giving them therapy, so I would have said it was more like a mediation.
Mm-hmm. It seemed as though he was trying to find the source of the issue as opposed to, well, he's saying this, you're saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Finding the source and then going from there. I thought that was very lovely. We haven't seen anything quite like that on the season in a very long time. I thought it was very refreshing.
Yeah. Jared's a good egg. He has very high emotional intelligence, I felt,
Mhm.
and he's really good at getting people to calm down, to de-escalate. I wonder what it is that he does in real life, because if he's not a mediator, then maybe he should be. He's
Mhm.
excellent at what he performs as a service for this couple. And yeah, they definitely have extreme communication problems, which he sees. And I feel like they really don't stand a chance unless they address it with some kind of formal counseling, some professional help, because like they've shown no interest in going and fixing their problem with somebody who knows how to deal with it. We haven't seen them show any interest in counseling at all. And yet that would resolve it, I think, quite easily if they're both willing to put in a little bit of work to enact whatever guidelines a counselor gives them for positive communication. And the fact that they haven't either talked about going to therapy or engaged in therapy, and that they keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again, getting into the same arguments over and over, which they're cognizant of. I'm starting to wonder, is this even real? Are they just on the show for clout or fame or money?
I don't know how they've gotten to where they are with their communication issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm starting to totally not believe this couple at all. How can they be together? They don't share a common language. That money is a huge issue for them. They're not sleeping together. They don't even get along. And they keep complaining to each other that the other doesn't like them. And yet it would take such a small little change in your own either way of communicating or just your behavior to make that person who happens to be your spouse, so you would think you'd care, to make them feel better and to make them feel at ease and to make the situation much nicer for both of them. And yet they don't do anything. So,
Mutual effort would be very beneficial at this point,
mm-hmm,
and we're getting none of it.
none, nothing. So yeah, I don't know if we're not going to find out once this show is over that they weren't a fake couple, or they have already split up and they're just on the show now to garner some fame. No.
Possibility. I
Yeah.
don't know.
That is all I had written about those.
Yes.
Okay. James and Natalia are the final couple for this week. Now, James is struggling with the situation that they're in, living at the house with all of the family. It sounds like very cramped conditions, even though the house is huge. He feels like Tata's parents are controlling, and that's concerning. Not a good thing. I was confused. Why are they having another wedding? They have no money. Why is this even on the table?
And who's paying for it? Well,
Well,
they said that they are, but with what money? Didn't her
exactly.
parents say that they were going to pay off their debts? So is this not going to be another accumulation upon said debt?
When James is complaining openly to Tata about her parents, which I thought was not a good thing, especially the dad, it turns out, we find out that neither James nor Tata have been helping in the family business at all. And I went, huh? How can this be?
Yeah.
What are you doing all day that you're not even helping out with the banana chips? So I felt like James is kind of a parasite. He's not learning the language. He's not looking for a job. He's not helping with the family business. Tata is very frustrated with him. I'm very frustrated with him. So what is really going on? Well, what's really going on is that they've tried to revive this business that they had in the US of making and then selling jewelry. So at least we know they're making an attempt.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need to actually sell the things that you make in order to get money. I think that's how it works.
Typically.
I don't know. I mean, the writing's on the wall.
But most of the orders are coming from the US and shipping costs money.
I don't think they have any orders from the US. I think that's what they were saying. Like Tata was saying, well, in the US, we did this and we had interest and it was good. So why not here? And he says, well, it's too much to ship to the US. So I don't think that's even an option on their website.
Perfect.
They're just trying to look for buyers who are local, and they can't go into the stores because the stores are too possessive over the merchandise that they already have, and they don't want to add to it. Yeah.
Fair.
So, yeah, the writing's on the wall. James needs to think about going back to the US, of course. His family's going to be so happy, will they not?
They will welcome him with open arms and ensure that they have more contracts for him to fulfill from within the family business as soon as he lands.
Oh, God. I can only imagine the conversations that he would have to have with his brother and his family to say, oh, I'm coming back, guys. And can I have my old job back? Well, if he goes, it seems like Tata is not going to follow because she says she doesn't want to leave her family. She's obviously not happy living in the US. We saw that very clearly at the beginning of the season. So she says openly to James, you go back, I'm going to stay. And that sounds like a pretty good idea to me.
And she's been applying to jobs as a data scientist.
I wonder why she didn't have this job in the States.
That's what I'm thinking. And also, why didn't she start applying to jobs when you decided you were going to move there permanently? When
Yeah.
obviously, James doesn't speak the language, let alone have any other useful things to do over there. He's not helping. He's not helping with the banana chips. And I wonder if they only filmed that one scene and then that's it.
It seems like it.
But she's a data scientist.
Yep, she is. They both have great qualifications for great jobs, and yet neither one of them is working.
But even when she got back there, she wasn't applying for jobs. She just started to work with her sister and was making what, like 16 cents a day?
Yeah.
And yet
well, it is an actual impediment that the jobs are in Jakarta, which happens to be 9 hours away by train. So yeah, she would have to move, and as she mentions, it's very expensive to live in Jakarta. She can't afford to do that on her own. Yes, there are impediments, but you would think that maybe there's a slightly larger town closer where she could get this job, or maybe she could work remotely. There's got to be some way around it.
So many options. I was just surprised that she's an actual data scientist.
Yeah, I know. Didn't mention it before.
I don't think I knew that. If I did, it was just completely overshadowed by her personality.
Yeah, I hear you. We didn't see Dempsey and Statler this week. We didn't see Corona and Inky this week. We did see Shekinah and Sarper this week, but no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Any final thoughts, Amy?
No final thoughts from me. Any from you?
Just to say to our Canadian listeners, happy Thanksgiving, as it is
Happy Thanksgiving.
the day of thanks today. Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.